Hey everyone, I'm Ultima456, you're the Ultimates, and welcome to episode 64 of Let's Platinum The Evil Within. Alright, so it is finally time for AKUMU Mode, so let's get that started straight away. Yes, I don't mind. Rightness, okay, put that to 70, and we're going to AKUMU. True to the word, prepare to die. One hit and it's all over. Worse than nightmare, this is pure hell. Alright, here we go. So, this is fairly difficult. As of recording this, I have not completed the game yet on AKUMU. I've done up to chapter 5, like I've completed chapter 5 and now I'm on to chapter 6. The first few chapters are pretty damn hard. Chapter 1's okay, chapter 2 is a nightmare, chapter 3 is pretty bad, and chapter 4 I am about to redo it off screen, so yeah. And also I'll be trying to talk about the story and what I understand from it in this playthrough, so yeah. I'll let this play out a little bit and then I'll probably pause to explain a few things that I know.
Sorry, detectives. I know you're just coming off a case, but I'm afraid we're gonna have to make a detour.
Sounds serious. Is it a riot?
A call went out just before I picked you up. Said it was multiple homicides. Half a dozen units already on scene.
131, please advise.
Hey, maybe it's the ghost of that doctor who went
Okay, so they're talking about the hospital here, because when we get there, there's plenty of police cars.
Some kind of scandal?
Still.
Then I think Joseph is talking about the patients disappearing, so Ruvik.
Gives you the creeps, doesn't it?
127, 124, please respond.
Joseph.
Or is it
I think
Ruvik?
there's a connection.
Because he's technically
It's a
dead.
possibility. I believe the records were sealed.
But he wasn't dead earlier.
Anyone on scene, respond.
Dispatch, this is Detective Castellanos in 184. What's the situation? Over.
184, be advised. Some problem reaching on a Beacon Memorial on
Is there any...
God damn it! Jesus!
Okay, so I'm gonna just reveal something. It is explicitly stated in the DLC that that is the moment that we enter Ruvik's world. And if you notice, Kidman didn't really seem fazed by it. That will come into the story more in the DLC, but that is the moment that we enter it. And there's a pretty significant clue as well with the following scenes. It shows sort of like the city, so the beacon's blaring up there, and then it sort of shows this scene like everything's normal, but we're technically in Ruvik's world. Joseph got a headache.
Any thoughts?
Nothing yet. I'm sure we'll know everything once we get there.
Yeah, so with Kidman, I'm not really going to say too much about her because most of the stuff that is involved with her is explained in the DLC. But yeah, we are technically now in Ruvik's world. However, there's a lot of things that I don't understand and I'll need you guys to help me understand. And I'll mention those as we approach the hospital.
What do you make of it?
Connolly, contact dispatch and let them know what's happening. Joseph, Kidman, you're with me. We're gonna have a look around.
Right.
Excuse me. Alright, so here we go. So it's as normal, emergency call. So apparently right now we are in Ruvik's world, but the confusing part is, are we already connected to STEM? Which I'll explain more later on with what, well, STEM is the machine, you know, STEM is the machine that we're all connected to so that we can share consciousnesses, and I haven't gone over that too much. Now, I have theory that technically we're not in Ruvik's world yet, and it's only because of the fact that he smells the blood here.
Smells like blood.
And I feel like in
Stay sharp.
in Ruvik's world you can't smell it, but I'm not 100% sure. I mean, the game does explicitly say that we're in
Check it
Ruvik's
out.
world at this
Don't
point
let anyone else through this door.
via the
That can be an
DLC,
extra set of
so
eyes.
We don't know what's happening here.
that's probably not right, but I kind of just think that because you know, very soon we're going to enter that area where we're going to be sort of sliding down that shaft with all the blood and land in that gigantic pool of blood. And he doesn't seem to be, well, I guess he wouldn't really be saying what an awful smell, but I feel like he would have said something like earlier about it, so I don't know. Seems weird, but we probably are in Ruvik's world. So this is my next theory.
Are you injured?
So Jimenez, we know that he was working with Ruvik. I think he's talking about the fact that...
Ruvik.
Yeah, he's saying Ruvik is dead. And...
Security cameras might tell us something.
And that we, you know, all of this happening can't be real. Or maybe he's seen Ruvik and he believes that what he's seen can't be real because Ruvik is dead. But in Ruvik's world, Ruvik is not dead. He's in control, which is why here he's able to teleport and kill these guards. 1, 2, 3.
What the hell?
Then he teleports into our room and stabs, or seemingly stabs, Sebastian in the back. And almost to the point where it seems like he stabs him to create the... Well, I guess he turns around and his eye was there, but it almost seems like he was stabbed in the back of the head, which is what, you know, made the hole so that he can be connected to the stem. I don't know, it's confusing. So now, I think what happens here is we entered Ruvik's world via that sound, and don't worry, just believe me when I say that, it'll be explained completely in the DLC. I think it's a bit silly the way they chose to go about it, but that's how it happened. So, we're in Ruvik's world, and now we're in this area, which is in the Beacon Mental Hospital, technically. But obviously, the sadist doesn't exist in the real world, so we have to be in Ruvik's world. On top of that, we should technically now be connected to STEM within Ruvik's world, and this is the part that gets confusing, because at the end, we sort of release ourselves from STEM, we smash Ruvik's brain, and then we release ourselves from the actual, like the real world STEM. So is that what it is? Is like we're connected into STEM in the real world, but then also connected into this nightmare in Ruvik's world. That's the confusing part for me, the part that I'm not 100% sure about, and I can't think of any other reason as to why that would, or, you know, how it would work. So, yeah. So hopefully one of you guys can explain to me. I don't want to, like, it's hard to put, I don't want to put, like, the entire story in the first episode of AKUMU Mode. I'm just doing this to go a little bit quicker. I don't want to put, like, the entire story into the first episode, but there's more to talk about, I guess, throughout the game. Okay. I always get, like, terrified there, because he's, like, I feel like he's gonna see me. But for whatever reason, his peripheral vision doesn't really work. And there. Trust me, that's faster. Okay, and now up the stairs we go. This one's a bit harder to pull off. I don't think tapping it super fast is what makes it fast. I think you have to kind of go one by one. Okay, so the rest of the first chapter is pretty much exactly the same as all the other chapters. There's still a bit to explain as we find the collectibles. I'm not going to go for 100% collectibles, but effectively this will be pretty much a 100% playthrough. I'll get all the collectibles that I can get that aren't completely out of the way and not worth getting. Yeah, I'll just get everything that's worth getting, pretty much. The keys are going to be very important, because really the difficulty comes in the beginning because you don't have access to many things. Okay, I just decided to shut up there for a bit, and this is probably pretty loud too, but I thought I'd just be quiet because I don't think I lowered the sound a little bit so that I wasn't peaking. Or my talking sound so I wasn't peaking. So yeah, and then another thing here, when he dives into this pool, it seemed like the blood seems to fall off him really quick, which, I mean, I don't know if that was an intentional element of Ruvik's world, or, you know, like the story, explaining the story, but that's just what I think. So yeah, there's that too. Okay, so we're going to come up on the first collectible. In fact, the first two collectibles in this in this chapter, actually the only 2 collectibles in this chapter, are actually pretty good to get because they bring up more questions, which is good because more questions means hopefully more answers. Alright, so, and I'm going to try and go through this as quickly as possible as well. It's not a speed run by any means, but I'll probably be completing this chapter in this episode. I'm just going to try and do it as quickly as I possibly can. Yeah, it's not a speed run by any means, so don't worry about that. We will have to be saving a lot. I like how he says, "Where's the exit here?" And then this says, "Old note from sewer. Beside the locked gate at the far end of the sewer, there is a ladder which would take you to the old ward. If you could make it through there, you would find an elevator leading outside. You would be the one who escaped. You might be the one who survived. R." So now this is the tricky part. I'm pretty sure that that document is meant to be Ruvik, right? And in my idea, like when I first played the game, I was like, okay, or when I played the game for a second time, I should say, and I knew, you know, a portion of the story and like Ruvik and all that, I was like, okay, so Ruvik left a note and we found it, so it feels like he seemingly left a note for us. But at the same time, why would Ruvik leave a note for us trying to tell us how to escape? My guess is that Ruvik left the note for himself in a way, because he's trying to escape to the real world. So yeah, again, that's another question that I'm not entirely sure of, but that's just my idea. So here's the STEM note. It says STEM system operation test begins. Then 15 minutes later there's success, confirmation of brainwave synchronization, losses minimal, continuing experiment, agent collects the data. At another 15 minutes later an anomaly occurs, not with the subject. The stenographer claimed they weren't feeling well and fell into a coma for reasons unknown. Doctor orders the STEM system terminated. At 1:45, staff begins complaining of nausea and falling unconscious one after another. Those who can still move plan their escape from the hospital, but for unknown reasons, are unable to. Though the STEM system should have been deactivated, subjects maintain brainwave synchronization with the host. And then at 2 o'clock, that man appeared. So it seems like they started up STEM, and then after an hour, Ruvik appeared or something. I don't know if that is supposed to be telling us that that's sort of what happened just before we got here. But it is a potential. Like, it's possible that that's what it is. I'm not 100% sure, but yeah. Okay, so now we're getting to the only difficult part of chapter 1. I'm just gonna go straight in here. There's a little like not a glitch per se, but I was watching a speedrun and the guy kind of like just crouched down in front of this locker and waited until the sadist came into the room and then went into the locker. And what ended up happening was he was able to, I think it looked like he was able to leave the locker at any time. But not only that, Sadist did what he needed to do in this room a lot quicker than he's doing right now. But I thought, I'm not gonna mess with it, I'm just gonna keep it the same. Just do the same thing. Alright, so we're almost there. This will be interesting because I was watching the speedrun and thank goodness the speedrun showed me how to do this relatively easier. I still don't think I'm going to get it first go, but I'm going to try. So what you want to do is you want to come around here, pick up the bottle and throw it into there. Then wait here, go this way, pick up this bottle. Don't bother looking because, like, if he sees you, then too bad. If he doesn't see you, fantastic. Come here, there's some boxes blocking the way. Just throw the bottle, I actually finally got it. Throw the bottle sort of in between the boxes. You can almost press the right thumbstick down all the way and it should work. But throw the bottle right between the boxes, it should destroy them and then you can get past. And thank God that worked out because I think I failed it 2 or 3 times when I was trying it myself. And then I was like, alright, I'm just gonna go and If it fails, like if you don't break both boxes, my recommendation is use the bottle that's just behind you and try and break the other box with it and then go. Also, I tried turning the camera around here when I was practicing and the sadist caught me. So it was kind of funny. Okay, now we're in an elevator. Now the elevator is actually pretty interesting because I have a small theory about it, but I'm probably wrong. Yeah, it doesn't even actually make sense in this one. It doesn't really make sense that my theory... I'll mention it. It's pretty much right at the end of the game, but I'll mention something that I noticed when we get there. Alright, we got this opening cutscene to sit through again. I guess I could cut it out, but I'll just let it play out. It's actually a cool song. Reminds me of like The Last of Us. Has that very The Last of Us vibe. Chapter 5. Chapter 3. Every chapter. That could be chapter 9, I think. That's definitely chapter 9. Shinji Mikami. The Evil Within. I really want to see this turn into a franchise. Like, we've got 2 games now, and I want to see more. It's actually why I'm curious to play The Evil Within 2 as well, to see if they talk about, you know, I know that there are, like, events of the first game are involved in Evil Within 2. Damn, that was terrible. Ended up right behind that wheelchair. I know that there are certain elements of the first game's story that come up in the second. I don't know anything about it, I just know that there are elements. Okay, now here's a problem. This friggin' cutscene is so long, but we're doing the story, so yeah. Alright, so for me, so this is Ruvik's world, and as soon as we entered Ruvik's world, he's just like destroying everything. Connolly's still alive. So my guess is that Ruvik, you're going to see him at the top of the tower here, or the Beacon Hospital, right there on the left. I think he disappears, doesn't he? Yeah. So my guess is that when Sebastian was attacked, Joseph was attacked, Kidman... Wait, was Kidman attacked? Yeah, Kidman, Leslie, Marcelo, and Oscar were all attacked and placed in the what's it called? In STEM within the world. That's my guess.
Shit! There's no going back.
This is a really cool scene, actually. So it's tricky as well, like I'm not exactly sure what Ruvik's trying to accomplish here. I guess he's trying to stop us so that he can get to Leslie. But even with the powers of essentially God within his own world, he can't seem to do that.
Shit.
Which is very weird. That's such an awesome scene. I haven't seen Inception in a long time, but I feel like cutting a bus in half with 2 inwards moving fault line things destroys a bus in that movie. Okay, so now everyone's in here except for Joseph. I don't know where Joseph is, like I don't know why he didn't come out or whatever. We do find him randomly later in the hospital.
Damn it.
In chapter 5, so maybe that's something to do with it. Joseph got like a temporary bathtub.
Just a few bumps. We're fine.
Fine. Fine. Fine.
We will be once we're far away.
Fine.
A little further and we'll be fine.
Fine.
I guess is that's just that Ruvik wasn't really there. It's just
Fine.
kind of Sebastian's
Fine.
thing. And now I think Leslie's connection with Ruvik is telling him that they're gonna fall. Oscar, for some reason, only now succumbs to, I guess, the effects of Ruvik's world. And we fall. And somehow all of us survive. Even though technically it's in Ruvik's world. So yeah, a bit tricky. Alright, well that's the end of chapter 1, so at least that's something done. So yeah, I'm gonna save here and next time we'll continue. 17 minutes. What? 17 minutes? It's almost like 4 minutes of me blabbing. Alright, so we'll leave it like that and we'll continue with chapter 2 next time, which is... Chapter 2 is something. But yeah, we'll leave it there. So I want to thank you all for watching episode 64 of Let's Platinum the Evil Within. My name's Ultima456, you're the Ultimates, and I'll see you next time.